Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anatomy of Energy. I'm Angie, and I own a little business called angiewitzel.com. You can reach out to me on my webpage, or you can meet me on my business page in Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/angiewitzel. Now, before we get started, I do want to say that there is a page at the very beginning of my presentation that I offer to all students when they take one of my classes. And it's really an intellectual property contract. It's an energy exchange and a promise to each other that the classes will not be shared and that the images and the work that has been presented will not be copied or passed on. And this is really just a system that I have in check to make sure that the energy exchange remains equal and that integrity is kept intact. Most likely, if you're watching one of my classes, other than this one, you have paid for it. And so you want to honor that you paid for that. And giving that away to others really ends up hurting not only me, it's not about just me, but it hurts others because you are giving that away for free when you actually paid for it. So honor yourself, honor that energy contract, and just read over the first page. It usually comes as a signed agreement with all my classes, just some formalities that I want to get out first and foremost. But other than that, I want to let you know that every time you enroll in a course with me, you have the video, such as this, that you get to download, that you can keep with you forever on your hard drive, on the cloud somewhere. That way you'll never lose it. You'll always have the information. Not only that, you also get a PDF guidebook with each class that you take. So if you feel like you have to take a lot of notes, I would say to go ahead and print out a PDF guidebook of the course itself before you actually watch the video. Then you can take notes on what is being said with the actual guidebook that goes along with the physical presentation. That'll save your hand a lot of work. Another thing that you get is access to our private online Facebook group. So say, for example, you take Lemurian Healing Energy. You would then get added to the Lemurian Healing Facebook page, which is a closed group. Only students are allowed in there. And we talk about the course and any questions that we have that may come up. And I also like to keep posting things beyond the class so that we continually learn. And really, you have access to me as well. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on my website. And my students always take precedence. So I feel like I'm always continuing education with my students because it doesn't end with just the class. So if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do have a contact page at the top corner of my website, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you had. So without further ado, let's get into this class. I'm going to share my screen with you. That way you can still kind of see me at the top corner, but I'm going to share my screen of my PowerPoint presentation for you. And let me find it here. Okay, there we go. I really hope that is sharing the proper screen. And right there is the intellectual property contract that I spoke about earlier. I ask all students to sign this and email it back to me before furthering any classes. But let's go ahead and dive right in. And I would like to change the view on this too. There we go. Anatomy of Energy. And I decided to make this one the freebie because I believe that this is information we should all know. A lot of this information comes from books that I've read. It's come from Reiki classes that I've taken. And it has also come intuitively from mediumship readings that I've had in the past. A lot of this information, especially when it comes to the different types of bodies and the aura, comes from the book Hands of Light. And I will post a link to that book in the comment section, so you can look it up if you'd like. All right, so let's get started. What is energy? And right there to the left, you have Nikola Tesla. If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. That is so important. And really, I can't even elaborate on that. It is exactly what it says it is. Once you learn that everything is energy, you can start to shift your consciousness in so many different directions, and you start to see things very, very differently. So over 50 years ago, the science of quantum physics discovered what ancient cultures embraced, that energy truly is the basis of life. It was proven that the atom, the smallest structure in the universe, is made up of 94.5 empty space. This revealed that what you see, touch, and sense is only 5% of your reality. Can you imagine that? There is so much out there beyond our physical senses that we cannot see unless we tune into it. See, feel, taste, touch, and hear. Your physical body only represents 5% of who you are. The rest of you is 95% vibrating energy. So, what is energy really? And we have the age-old equation there. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Matter is simply energy slowed in vibration enough as to have some sort of tangible form that we can see. As in Einstein's infamous equation, the amount of energy manifested in matter is mass times the square of the speed of light. Light is the word we must remember here going forward, and we are all beings of light. And I'll explain that here in a bit. You will often hear people in the spiritual community talk about raising their vibration, or good vibes only, or she has a very low vibe, that type of thing. We're talking about energy. When you raise your vibration, you allow more light into your physical and emotional and mental and spiritual bodies. Thus, we actually become more and more enlightened, and we are getting closer and closer to being our light body and our light being, which is our true form and true nature. Now, I want to see, okay, so I'm going to go back to the first bullet here where it says, matter is simply energy slowed in vibration enough as to have some sort of tangible form that we can see. I want to reiterate on this a little bit so you truly understand. And I'm not sure how many of you had these science classes in high school, or maybe you have seen something on YouTube that explains this a little bit better. But we have had different professors and teachers put some sort of matter onto a plate, and they turn up the vibration on the plate, and it starts to move, and the particles on the plate start jumping around. And you'll even notice in cymatics, you want to look up cymatics and the study of cymatics. That's important as well. CYMATICS. So this matter on this plate starts to move and jump around, and it actually starts to form mandalas or energy signatures, or just different shapes. Energy and sound create so much beautiful things in the universe and in our everyday worlds that we're not even paying attention to. You can see the formation of energy and how it plays throughout our lives in so many different things, and we're going to get into that. But as this teacher starts turning up the vibration on these particles, they start to jump around even more and they vibrate. And he turns up the notch a little more and it vibrates even more. Eventually, he will turn up that energy so high that that matter is moving so fast that it disappears completely. And this is actually how the human light body will work eventually when we get to that point where our vibration and the light within our bodies will be so high and the energy will be moving so quickly that the body no longer needs to take on form or matter. This is quote unquote spirit, the spirit world. Our souls still exist. We still exist. We just don't have a body anymore. And this is what the higher realms and the higher dimensions are all about. So I don't want to get into too much more because I'm not exactly sure. I might discuss more things down the line. I don't want to jump into too much right away. So what do I mean by beings of light? It's important to understand that we are all soul beings and have all come from the same divine source. Religion is really, and this is no disrespect to any religion whatsoever, but it divides us when really there are so many similarities between all of them. We're too busy fighting on what makes it different. When we all came and come from the same place anyway. We have had different prophets and different beings come down to earth to represent what it is to be a light being. For example, Jesus. His teachings were more about unconditional love and what it meant to love all of your mankind. Somehow that got lost in translation, and we've been at war with religion ever since. And it's kind of sad when you think about it, because the message he came here to deliver was quite the opposite. We should be celebrating each other. And I won't get into that. But it's important that we all understand what, if you call it God, source, creator, you can call it whatever you like. We all come from the same place. So I suggest to you that we are, each of us, only a very small part of the universe. Yet realize we are only part of the universe. The whole contained in the part in a mini version of the whole, and yet containing the entirety of the whole. And I know that can get confusing, so you might want to read that one a couple times, highlight it, or just keep reading it until you finally understand. The microcosm and the macrocosm, as above, so below. And I believe I did put a picture later on in this presentation where you can see the formation of cells looks identical to the formation of a new star. The synapses in the brain looks identical to how a galaxy works and the interconnections between different galaxies. We are stardust. We are made of stardust, and we are made of the same material that comes from the skies. Okay. So light and vibration are the very essence of the universe, and we are all made from the universe. Thus, we too are also made of pure light and vibration. We are made out of pure energy. The Big Bang, if that's what you believe, that was a burst of energy. When new stars are created, that is a burst of energy. When a sperm hits an egg, there's a flash that's given off when there is conceivement. That is energy. That flash is almost like a birth of a star. So you can see the connections as above, so below. And I could go on all day and give examples of that, but I won't do that. I only have so much time. Beings of light continued, so we're still talking on the same light body. Here is a photo of a Merkaba or Merkaba, however you want to pronounce it. This is your divine light body. And we'll discuss this in detail in the future in this class. But it is different parts of your different bodies that you have, which we're getting into, spinning at such high speed that it takes on a light body form. Think of energy and how quickly energy can spin. You must realize that you are, first and foremost, a divine being, but you are simply having a human experience. There are other beings out there in this world, and we chose to come here. We always have free will. Some people will call this a prison planet. Some people will call this a school and a learning place. That's what I believe Earth is. It's a learning place for our souls to grow. And we definitely chose to be here. What does that mean? You are an eternal being. Remember science class? Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So keep that in mind. When you die, you simply transform into a different dimension and experience. It is not just lights out and then you're done. I know a lot of people believe that. It's kind of sad and kind of lonely to think that. What would be the point of that? Why would we only come here one time and then we're done? There really is no point in that. We recycle our souls constantly, and we do it through free will because we're trying to learn and grow. And when we come to a place such as Earth that is a lower dimension and lower vibrational field, right now a lot of us think that we're being tortured and that we're suffering, but really we're learning a lot, because it's through these trials and tribulations that our souls are tested and that we learn about our inner selves and our own strength and how to overcome certain things that, you know, might not be as easy for others. And it really is an experience. So try to see it and try to flip that switch, and you can begin to appreciate why you're here. So this is why many who have had near-death experiences see bright light, because when we cross over, we cross back into being light beings, and we go back to what many would call heaven, or the light of heaven. There are some things being spread not to go to the light when you cross over, that it's a false light. If that's what you believe, that's what you're creating. And then you're going to get stuck if you do that to yourself. There's a lot of stuff that's being spread that's negative and of a bad nature, and people are falling for it. So please be careful. What you believe, you create. That is why so many different people, I have learned through my mediumship readings, experience heaven differently. My heaven is different from my husband's heaven, or his heaven might be different from his father's heaven, because we create our realities in our mind. We're doing it right now here on Earth. We create our reality with our minds. And so if you believe that something negative is going to happen to you when you cross into the light, that's what you're creating. So please, if you are hearing that, stop believing that, and stop anyone else that's saying that. All right. So yes, they are returning to their true form of divine white light on the other side. For example, when people see God or angels, they see beings of light. This is our true form. Living as a human on Earth requires a very low density or vibration. Because our vibrations here are so low, we have tangible bodies that we must use to function. However, when we die, or shall I say, when we transform to a higher frequency, We no longer need our bodies and transform back to the light of where we came. The body and the soul are completely separate. So even though the body remains, the soul continues on to its glorious form and continues its journey as a being of light. The soul's journey is simply that, a journey. We reincarnate many times at our own free will. We do this to experience life in different ways and to grow and learn along the way, eventually perfecting ourselves until we decide to return to source and start over again if that is what we so choose. You can learn to channel this energy from mind to spirit to heal yourself and others, to discover your life purpose while you are here. There are limitless possibilities when you are able to access your own energy as well as the consciousness of the universe. And I think almost every single point on this page is so important. And, you know, I'm not here to get into religious arguments. I'm not here to go against any religious teachings. I am coming from a place of what I see in mediumship readings, as well as what I feel intuitively. I know that since my father has passed, that I have connected with him several times. And I know that this happens a lot in my sleep for me personally. And I also know other friends who have been able to contact him and give me messages. And that tells me that, no, it's not just lights out. There's a lot going on the other side. And it's so beautiful when you're willing to accept it. But you have to be willing to be open-minded and keep an open heart as well. And there are no judgments here at all. I only teach what I feel, see, and know. So final thoughts on energy basics. So there's a little, a meme, I guess, that I put on here. The fact that there is a beginning or an end is just a concept seeded into your mind by society. You are constant, continuous, infinite energy, and energy never ends. It transforms. So important. This energy has no absolute language, only feeling. This is why it's going to be really important now and in the future. As humanity grows, we're going to start to see everyone learning to honor their intuition. It's going to be more about feeling than thinking. There is no such thing as time in the higher dimensions. Energy is also timeless. You hold centuries of energy inside of you. So every previous life you've had, you bring that energy with you into this lifetime. So let's say, for example, I love to dance. Absolutely love to dance. I was able to dance with no problems when I was a little girl. I didn't really know how it happened. But perhaps I was a dancer in a previous lifetime. Of course, we don't know. Some people can do that sort of thing and they have that gift. But you bring it with you. When learning how to connect with your own energy and the energy around you, you will begin to see a world that you hid from yourself your entire life. How we process our own vibration is in our personal chemical makeup. Not everyone is the same. And that's very important because we need to understand that Susan might need to meditate in order to connect with her own energy. That might not work for Diane, who maybe she connects with her energy by simply going out in her garden and spending time with the dirt. We're all so incredibly different. So that's important to understand as well. You just have to find out what works for you. And yes, it will be a trial and error method, but don't get sidetracked or feel discouraged if it doesn't happen right away. Just keep working on it. It will happen. So how we process our own vibration is definitely our own makeup, but we can increase our vibration in many ways. particularly with our thoughts. We'll talk about the importance of thought here in a minute. So this little meme says the universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. And I believe I read another quote somewhere else that maybe enlightenment isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's about letting go of everything that you thought you were and just being who you really are. Because as humanity, as humans, we are very much conditioned and indoctrinated. And I don't know if this is by design and on purpose. And I'm sorry, 1 second, I have a moth in here, which is probably a sign. Let's see. Okay, we're back. I got it. I just rescued him and put him outside. He's a big one too. So remind me to go back and look up the spiritual meaning of moth, because I believe that was a message. Okay, so let's get back. Here we go. So it can truthfully be said that you are the universe and the universe is you. The whole trick is in how much you access. The higher your vibration, the more you are able to access. This is why you hear so many spiritual gurus telling you to go within and to connect with yourself. The answers aren't out there. The answers aren't in the book. Yes, esoteric knowledge is wonderful. It helps you grow and helps you understand how things work. I am constantly reading and constantly taking classes, but I can tell you that the aha moments that I've had and the big revelations I have had were simply by sitting in silence and going within and meditating and getting guidance from whomever I'm getting guidance from in that manner. Those were my aha moments. And for me, that's how it works for me. It might work differently for others. For me, I get a lot in meditation or if I'm doing the dishes. We're all different. But please know, there are a lot of people out there that I know get upset because they say, I don't have money for books or I don't have money to take classes. And I understand. I really do. There are a lot of classes I want to take. You don't necessarily need that stuff in order to do the deep personal work. That's the most important work you can be doing right now. So let's dive into how the body's energy system works and how you can work with the energy around you. So here we go. Energy equals light, which equals life force energy, which some people will call chi or ki, Reiki. That's where it comes from. So let's get to the basics. You must first understand that there is energy all around you, literally all around you. It's not just contained within you, but in all living things, which includes our food, the elements, animals, and thought or consciousness. Thoughts, emotions, they're all energy. This is why some people are able to communicate with beings that have crossed over, with animals, or even trees. They are simply accessing the energy. And we are born with this. It is our birthright, but we turn it off. Usually around age 7 is when we turn it off because we get into the school systems and we start being programmed to not be creative. We get programmed to sit in a desk all day and to study and to follow rules and to color within the lines. And so that part of our brain shuts off. You can reawaken it. They are able to connect to energy of that dimension, space, or being. Everyone has the ability to do this. We are born with it. Some of us need to turn it back on and learn how to reuse it. Take your time and be patient. It will happen if you want it bad enough and you dedicate your time to it. So here are a few examples of Kirlian photographs taken to show you how energy is indeed real and contained within all living things. So this is why eating good food is important, and this is why you have a lot of vegans who are also into the spiritual realm who are really fighting for veganism. Now, I see both sides, and I am mostly vegan, but I do also eat a tiny bit of meat once a week because I feel like I need it. I used to be anemic, and I feel better when I just have a little bit of meat during the week. I bless it and I thank the animal for it before I eat it. And I find that helps me a little bit when I do eat meat. But I am not here to put any meat eaters down. There is some energy in meat, but it's not as light and filled with light as fruits and vegetables and living things of this nature. So you see in the photo, you have your organic raw kiwi fruit. Lots of light in there and lots of light coming off of it. Then you look at the commercial raw kiwi fruit. There's still some light in there, but not a lot. And this is why it's also important to go organic, because the more chemicals that are put into the plants, the less light gets through. And same thing when they start breeding these like mutant strawberries, those huge strawberries. There's hardly any light getting into that because it's a fake. It's a fake fruit that has been bred through chemical and negative means. If you look to the right, you have the cooked tomato and the raw tomato. Now there's still light in the cooked tomato, but you can see that the raw tomato is giving off a ton more light. Same thing with the broccoli, and then there's the meat below. But then again, how many of us eat raw meat? And a lot of people don't like medium rare. So the more you cook it, the less light gets into it. There's an example. This is important for you because we are literally feeding our bodies energy, or light, or life force energy. This is why when some of us who are suffering from things that deplete us of our energy, such as fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, Lyme's disease, Hashimoto's, these are the people that usually start to feel a lot better when they start eating a raw diet, because they are literally feeding their bodies the energy that is missing. The more life force energy we feed ourselves, the healthier we are. Foods that are processed and are high in sugar do not contain a lot of life force energy. These foods literally diminish our life force energy, and this is when we become sick and we begin to notice disease. This is why the raw food movement is becoming so popular now. I don't feel that we all need to eat just raw. I think just eating organic and eating healthy, whole foods is very important. The less sugar we can eat, the better. We are starting to see more and more that medicine is actually confirming that sugar causes cancer. So it's really important for us to stay away from the processed foods and the heavy carbs. I'm not saying we have to eliminate carbs, just to be mindful. Everything should be balanced. So this is why energy is important to the environment. And you see this little picture here of a man sitting beneath a tree. And the energy ends up circulating between him and the tree. Anytime you're feeling down, or you're feeling depressed, or you're tired, or you've been around a lot of negative people that day, you really want to go out into nature and you want to just sit on the ground, take your shoes off, put your hands on the ground, and intentionally put that negative energy into the earth. And then the earth will actually send positive energy back up to you and replenish you. And the same thing happens with trees. So if you can be out in nature and sit up against a tree, you're almost getting double the benefits. So here at the top, I say, we have so many jokes of those who hug trees and are called tree huggers. This is why. Every living thing in this world contains energy, and nature, by far, has the most healing energy there is. This explains why most of us feel better simply by taking a walk in the woods or going to the beach to hear the waves crash. Trees have been here for eons and contain some of the most potent and ancient energy you can find in nature. Every single tree, leaf, blade of grass, drop of water, wisp of air, and flicker of fire contains energy. Each element contains their own signature, as does each individual species. And I know now, I put this class together in 2017. I know now, 2 years later, when I go to the beach and you can see the waves crashing at the beach, you see the light reflecting off the waves. Those are light codes that we're getting, and we don't even realize it. Same thing with the stars at night when we're looking up and we're watching stars twinkle. We're getting light codes. So that's why a lot of the star seeds that are connected to the galactic and celestial realms love the stars so much, because we're out there looking at them and we're getting downloads and codes and we don't even realize it. Why energy is important to the environment. Why is this important to you? With enough practice, you can learn to connect to this energy in nature, and you can use it to heal yourself, and you can use it to heal others. You can also begin to commune with nature spirits. Yes, they do exist. We are not the only beings on Earth. That's a little arrogant of us. It really is. Because again, we're only seeing 5% of what's actually out there. So remember that. Yes, each living being has a soul, including trees, flowers, fire, water, air. They all have a soul. It's all living. This is why it is so important to take care of our planet. The planet is full of life that contains so much knowledge that you can access with patience. And everything has been put here for us. We just need to stop abusing it. Right now we're abusing it. So here in the left-hand corner, to further prove this point, rocks also have energy. And this is why, again, spiritual people are so drawn to crystals and rocks, because many of us can feel the energy coming off of them. Many of us use them in our healing practices. And here's why. The rocks have energy. Each one has its own energy signature. This is why you see so many holistic practitioners and followers collecting different types of gemstones, crystals, and stones, because each piece gives off its own energy that can help you heal in a different way. Crystals are widely used in holistic healing for this purpose, and crystals have been used from ancient practices. In Lemuria, Lemuria was huge with crystals. That whole entire city was built from crystals, and it was used in Atlantis. They were used in Egypt, and all the way up through our history. And somehow that got lost. And then when the spiritual community brought it back, it kind of became hearsay, or just like a, I don't want to say voodoo. I'm not thinking of the right word, but it wasn't taken seriously. And it really does work. We actually need more and more access to our ancient scripts so we understand how important it really is. So why is energy important in regards to healing? Here you can see energy surrounding the hands. This energy circulates throughout your body as well. This is where Reiki healing becomes essential. The Reiki practitioner is able to connect to divine energy, inviting it down, and uses the hands to guide this energy to heal your body. And I have several scientific articles that show different pictures and videos of how Reiki energy actually works. And those of us who actually perform Reiki can reaffirm that, yes, when you start to give Reiki, your hands get very hot. And you can feel the energy pulsating through your hands and sometimes down through your arms. Sometimes the person on the table can feel this energy, sometimes not. It really depends how each person receives the energy. But it is definitely a practice that is becoming more and more used in hospitals and especially cancer centers. So it's finally being taken seriously. And let's not forget, Jesus healed with his hands. Jesus was giving Reiki. So keep that in mind too. The Reiki healer is able to remove negative energy that is blocking the flow of your system and replace it with good energy that will help you heal and keep your energy flowing freely. Each practitioner is different, but almost all of them are able to feel energy. Some can even see it. So I have over here to the left a little blurb. Did you know that almost all disease stems from blocked emotions? Now, some of it's genetic, I'm not going to lie, that you cannot beat bad genes, unfortunately. And sometimes it might just be bad lifestyle choices. I'm not saying it's always emotions, but a huge portion of disease comes from blocked emotions. For more information, I highly recommend the movie called Emotion. I believe it's free now on Netflix. You can also download it if you go to the website, which I have right here. It's a fantastic documentary on how you can change your life and your health just by curing underlying emotions that might be causing your disease. And I believe as practitioners who are in healing, we can usually tell, you know, if I have someone coming in that's angry all the time, I can usually tell, you know, if you don't calm that energy, you're going to have pancreas problems or you're going to have these problems, and it usually happens. If you hold on to grief, or grief especially affects the breast and the heart. So not speaking up could be giving you some throat issues or throat cancer, or it might travel down into the lungs, into lung cancer. It all stems from the same area. And I've seen it enough for me to be convinced. Why is energy important to your thoughts? The Earth's magnetic resonances vibrate at the same frequency as our heart rhythms and our brain waves. Here we go again, as above, so below. Have you ever been around someone who is always negative? How do you react when you're around them? Do you find yourself feeling drugged down with them? Do they seem like they can't be happy no matter what happens to them? I think we all know at least one person like that. We have to be careful of our thoughts. Thoughts are also energy. So when we concentrate on negative constantly, we receive more negative energy in return through the law of attraction. Now, I did not always agree with this law, and I still believe that most of the laws are not black and white. It's about balancing them. So there are different scenarios for different things, but I can say if you're constantly in a negative mind space, you're going to create disease for yourself. So you need to be able to flip that switch and flip the energy and flip the thoughts, and you will see a huge difference in your life. When you decide to focus on the positive things in life, you will see that more positive things then also come into your life. It's a snowball effect of sorts. And this is where gratefulness comes in. Being grateful for the little things. I still suggest for those first starting out, that, and especially those who are first starting out on this path, who are having problems overcoming negativity, get a journal, and every single day I want you to write down 3 things you're grateful for. At first it's going to be easy because you can say, I'm grateful for the roof over my head, I'm grateful for my food, I'm grateful for my car to get to work. But eventually it's going to get tough, and you can't repeat the same thing. And this is when you start to really look and really appreciate what is out there that you have been ignoring. I appreciate the purple flowers that are growing in my front yard. I appreciate that my neighbor got me my mail yesterday. I appreciated the woman that smiled at me at the grocery store. It's just the little things that we need to pay attention to that are actually really good in life, that will help boost us up and give us that next level of appreciation and positivity. Why is energy important to your thoughts? Again, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. If you believe you are an empath, and many of us are in this realm, and I guarantee if you're watching this video, you're probably an empath too, at least to a certain degree. Some of us more so than others. So if you're someone who takes on easily the energy of others, it's best to stay away from negative people as much as possible. And I do have a course coming up called How to Heal the Empath Within. So that's coming up. But it's so important to stay away from the negative people, and that can be really tough because you might have loved ones and really close friends who are really negative that you don't want to push them away, and that's okay. You just have to love them from afar sometimes, or possibly just have short bursts with them, a day here, a day there throughout the year. It's okay. You're really just protecting your own energy. And you can even help them if they're willing and they ask for it, but they have to be willing. They really do. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. The most important aspect of controlling thoughts, though, is you. And this is something that even I have to work on to this very day, is that we tend to blame others for our problems, or we blame others for things that tick us off or make us uncomfortable. But really, it's all about us and how we are reacting to them. We need to stop reacting and understand that, okay, they may have bad behavior, or they may not be treating me the way that I want them to treat me, but it is my choice in how to respond that is really the most important thing. It's how I put my energy back towards them. Okay. The best way to develop a better relationship with your thoughts is to practice gratitude. And I just talked about this in the previous slide. Once you invite gratitude into your life, everything will change. So, have an attitude of gratitude. How many times have we all heard that? It's very important, though. To be consistent and to develop a habit of gratefulness, I definitely suggest using the journal every single night. Make it a habit. Like I said, write 3 things at least that you're grateful for each day. Don't get frustrated. It's when you start having a hard time realizing what you're grateful for, that's when it gets really interesting and it gets really beautiful. Don't stop when you get to that point. Because, as I say here in the last bullet, you are forced to look beyond the material plane and look beyond yourself for things that are beautiful in your world. Whether it be that bird that landed on your window pane while sipping your morning coffee, or a simple smile from a total stranger, you will begin to become more aware of your surroundings. Once you become aware of things other than yourself, your world truly begins to open like a beautiful flower in bloom. And that is so true. I believe becoming aware is the first step to enlightenment or personal development, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a big word person, so I don't nitpick my words. Maybe I should, I don't know. But I think I can get my point across to what I mean. So this is very important, this page. This is how thoughts and emotions affect your energy. And take a look at this photo. Anger. Look at that. Fear. Disgust. Now look at happiness. Look at all that light and happiness. And look at all the light that's emanating from the heart. That's what we want to be. And as you can tell, when we become more and more filled with happiness and joy and love, we are filled with more light. We get closer to our light body of who we really are. We are light beings. And then look at sadness. Not sure why surprise is such a bad thing. I like being surprised. Maybe they're talking about shock. I don't know. But there's neutral, anxiety. Look at love. Love is even more brighter than happiness. Depression, contempt, pride, shame, envy. And here's what I want to point out that I've learned through doing lots of Reiki sessions. All that darkness that you see in some of these bodies, that's where disease festers. So, you have depression there, right in the center. Everything is dark and black. Lots of people with depression have heart issues, upper stomach issues, throat issues, and it's all right there. You can see it. So this is why it's important. Thoughts greatly affect our emotions and our energy. As you see here, the more negative you think, the more the energy in your body changes. Once this energy builds up over time, you create energy blocks that disrupt the flow of vital life force energy throughout your system. And this is when disease begins to take over. And this is why people go to Reiki practitioners, is to get these emotions out and get the energy moving, get your blocks out. However, I can tell you that even if you're going to a Reiki practitioner, I want to say once a month, if you're still thinking negatively, you're really just maintaining, because the Reiki practitioner is basically going in every single month and removing everything that you just put back in the previous month. When if you're really working on how you're thinking and trying to change yourself to positive, each month that you then see your Reiki practitioner, you're getting more and more light added instead of just maintaining. So I hope that makes sense. So take note to the graphics on the next page that's coming up. Emotions normally correlate to a body part in the area that is blocked. For example, if you are feeling a lot of grief and are heavy in your heart over an extended period of time, you will most likely develop heart problems or breast cancer. If you are the type of person to take on everyone else's problems and carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, you will most likely have neck and shoulder pain. Not always, but like I've said, I've seen it enough to be convinced. So here we go. Life force energy enters the body through the crown, through the top of the head. Depending on which chakra the addiction pertains to, the power will drain from the relevant area of the body. Power is lost to external objects to which we are affected. So, if you can't forgive certain people in your life, if you feel you need to control certain people, if you feel you need approval from certain people, substances you're addicted to, and that includes certain foods like sugar and the stuff that's bad for us. That's why, again, eating healthy is important. Money and material possessions, that is giving our power away to things outside of ourselves. It causes blockages and it causes less light into our bodies. If you look over to the right in this section, now I won't get into all of these, but you can look into these in your PDF file that I will be providing in the comment section. There are different centers where we hold different emotions. And again, I will go up to the throat center because that seems to be a really huge issue when I do sessions. Many, many, many of us have throat issues because we have self-expression problems. We aren't speaking our truths. We're not speaking up when we feel hurt, or we're not speaking up when we feel like we're being wronged, or we're being silenced by others. And this causes a huge energy blockage here, and then disease can begin to start to fester in there. The heart center, again, is about grief and sorrow, sadness and loss. So there are many people out there that, years after someone has passed, who are still grieving and who cannot let go of that. It is really important that if you feel like you're still holding on after several years, that you go and talk to someone that can help you release that. That's not good for your health. And you don't want to affect your health negatively because you're holding on to that. The anger center. Anger is, for me, I always feel like every time someone has pancreas issues or even kidney issues, it seems to be right in that area. And you can always tell before you even start getting stories from people what's going on where. I know for me as well, I suffer a lot lower back because I always have fear of lack of money, lack of not having things, lack of not having the right people in my life. That all stems from fear, and it resides in the lower back. So you can kind of see how it all pans out and why it's important to clear yourself of all these negative thoughts and patterns and energies. Here are some more. Again, I won't get into these. I will let you guys print these out so you have them for future reference. So if you have any problems downloading this or printing it out, let me know. So there's different sides, masculine and feminine, where things are held. And I do like to keep where I got these images from and make sure that those people get credit for it. So Joseph Bennett, that is from his page. And I thought that was a great graphic on his part. And then you have the different meridians as well. So meridians are used a lot in Eastern medicine. And I believe we have quite a few practitioners here in our area that do that type of work. I know we have quite a few acupuncturists as well. So this is all information you can use for yourself to heal. So I did want to add this in. There are many modalities that help heal individuals based on their emotions and their energy blockages. Some good places to start would be to look into this book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. I believe now, 2 years later, he also has a lot of DVDs and things that you can download to learn his system. And then the Suan is the dialogue between the Yellow Emperor and his medical advisors. This speaks of the 5 yin organs of the human body and how they produce 5 kinds of essential ki, chi, or life force energy. Other modalities to consider in order to get your energy moving are Reiki, Tai Chi, myofascial release, and yoga. And that's just a few examples. There's so much more out there, and there's so much more coming out every day of new things that I've never even heard of that sound really awesome. So this page really talks about how we are all susceptible to energy. And I have a little note at the bottom here. Know what is in your own personal energy field. This will help you learn each aspect individually and conquer areas you may need to work on. So your personal energy field contains meridians, your energy centers, emotional energy, your intuitive awareness, your actual life force or chi, which, by the way, we all hold differently based on the energy that we were born into. I'm learning that through medical astrology, that each birth sign holds their chi differently. It's really cool. We also have our own personal electromagnetic fields. We have our soul or our higher soul consciousness. We also have our grounding energy, our earth energy, and our planetary connections. We have the Akashic records, and of course we have our physical body. And that's really, honestly, just a small portion of what else is involved and what's in our energy field. There's a lot going on. So remember, one of the first questions we asked ourselves in this class, why is energy so important? Once you become aware of energy and become sensitive to it, you must protect your personal space. And your energy is so important, especially if you're going to get into this work. Whether you're going to do it professionally or you're just going to dive into the spiritual path, it's so important. So important. And I don't know if I discussed this in the future slides, but you know what? I'm going to bring it up right now in case I didn't. When you get into this field, you're going to have to really, really protect your boundaries. There are many people that are going to come up to you and they're going to put their hands on you. They're going to grab your hands without asking you, and they're going to start doing energy work. That's a huge no-no. I learned from the very beginning from my teachers that there is a boundary there are ethics, and there are limits. When you give energy work to someone else, you must, first and foremost, ask them if they will allow it. You don't just do it without their permission. Very important. I had that happen to me a lot. It just happened to me the other night. It's very uncomfortable, and whatever she sent my way sent me into some sort of weird energy. I didn't like it, and it was my fault for not stopping her, but it was also not very kosher for her to do that either. So I'm bringing this up now because I don't believe a lot of teachers back in our time, when things were still very new in this realm, taught about ethics. So please keep that at the forefront of your mind. Always ask before you touch or send energy to anyone. So I can teach you how to protect yourself, but you must be aware of what you are protecting. Even the tiniest things that we take for granted can affect us. A change in our health, a change in the seasons, an energy of the moon, energy of the stars and planets, it can greatly affect how we feel from day to day. And again, this is all about becoming aware. So here's an introduction to the human chakra system. I'm not going to go too much into detail about this because I actually have another class that is just going to be about the chakras alone, and that's going to be pretty in-depth. But here you can see the crown chakra at the top. It's purple. This represents spirituality. The third eye chakra between the eyebrows is awareness. The throat chakra right here is about communication. The heart chakra in the heart is about love and healing. The solar plexus chakra, which is actually the weakest one I find in a lot of people, is about wisdom, power, self-esteem, inner strength. The sacral chakra, which is right below the belly button, is about sexuality and creativity. And then finally, the root chakra, that is right in our pelvic area, is about trust and basically survival instincts, really, and our connection to the earth, and also our tribe and our community and how we feel we fit into the world. So that's a very, very basic rundown of the different chakras and what they represent. They are energy centers. They glow and they spin when they are cleared and working properly. Of course, you know, many of us are walking around. Some of them are completely blocked off. Some of them are open, but they're all weak. Some may have very, very strong energy centers, and the others may be weak. We're all different. And that, again, is another reason to see a Reiki practitioner or do some sort of energy healing. But chakras have been mentioned many times throughout this class, so I really wanted to get this in and just do a quick little explanation. Chakras are known as the wheels of life and make up part of your personal auric field. There are many more chakras actually, but the most known and utilized are the 7 that you see here. There are chakras that go further beyond the feet. There are chakras in the feet and in the hands. There are also chakras way, way above our heads, which are actually going up into the higher dimensions. I am actually going to start teaching the next layer of chakras because we need to know those in order to be in fifth dimensional living. The other ones, I don't think we really need to know those because we're nowhere even near needing to utilize those. And then there are also micro chakras, which I'm just learning about now. And I am learning that there are 7 or 12, I can't remember now off the top of my head, micro chakras within each chakra. It's very interesting and I'm loving it. And the best way I'm finding to tune chakras is to actually sing different notes. So here we go. Each chakra extends in front of and behind you in a funnel shape with the point being closest to the body. Some chakras can be overactive and some are underactive, depending on your personal energy. Your primary goal is to reach for balance in all of them. And for those of you who are seeking to open the third eye and to experience other dimensions and see or feel other things, please know it's not all about opening the third eye. A lot of psychic work comes from the heart, and you must be grounded. I can tell you right now, the more you are grounded, the more you will see. So it's not all about focusing right here. Make sure you're balanced. We go into heavy detail on this and include symptoms of overactive and underactive chakras in the more advanced chakra class, which is coming up soon. When working with chakras, first become aware of them. Try to feel the energy emitting from them. Does one feel like it's moving faster than the other? You can try to envision this in meditation or on a table during a Reiki session. Close your eyes. Is the chakra bright? Is it shining? Or does it look dull and muddy? Never second guess your gut instincts and thoughts. Your first impression is usually the truth. Because when we start questioning ourselves and questioning what we get, that's our mind speaking instead of the first initial reaction, which is usually the right one. It's when we start questioning ourselves too much that we lose it. So your first thought should always be honored. And then there on the left, I thought that was a really, really great image. You know, we find lessons to be learned. We find the reasons for blockage, the emotional effects of the blockages, and why we even blocked ourselves to begin with, the physical effects of those blockages. It all ties together. Okay. So more on the human chakra system. Next, find out which energy centers need work and dive deeper into the issue. Why do you think this chakra is blocked? Is there something you can do in your life to fix it? How is it affecting you emotionally, physically? There are so many lessons to be learned once we start working with our own personal energy signatures. It tells us what we need in order to heal. This is discussed more in depth as well in the upcoming chakra class. So here's a little note. Many people think that by getting these photos of themselves, it will reveal their primary chakra. And because of the color that's dominant in that photo. Although this is true, please remind yourself that auras change when your mood changes. It's like a mood ring. So if you're nervous that day, or if you're like me and you have anxiety in big groups and you're at a big convention and you're getting this photo taken, I'm sure my anxiety is going to be at the forefront that day, and that energy is going to be in my aura compared to a day when I'm at home by myself chilling with my dogs and being calm. So just remember that. It's good to get these photos just to have it and see your basic energy signature, but it can change. So let's talk about our energy fields. And I think I might break this down into 2 classes in the future, because this is a lot of information and I totally understand that. So you have the spiritual plane, the astral plane, and the physical plane. All 3 planes are broken down into how it affects a different part of your body or your auric field. So on the spiritual plane, you have your causal body, your celestial body, and your etheric template. On the astral plane, you have only your astral body, and we'll get into this, don't worry. And then the physical plane is your mental body, your emotional body, your etheric body, and your physical body. Okay? So why is this important to you? Whether you are trying to heal yourself or you are looking to heal others, when there is damage or weakness on one level of the aura, another level will compensate. This compensation leads to a severe lack of integration within the self. The self becomes fragmented and fractured. The physical body and the spiritual body are the ones that most often compensate for the emotional body. And this is why many times you will see spiritual people working on previous traumas or working through their own stuff, because they understand and know that a lot of emotional trauma that they have experienced throughout life is causing their physical issues today. You get rid of, I don't want to say you get rid of, because sometimes you just can't get rid of any type of trauma, but if you can overcome it and come from a place of healing, you will notice a change in the physical body and any pain that is being experienced there. So we're going to go through all the bodies. So if you're still with me and you're still interested, you might want to pause now, go grab a drink or a snack, because we're on slide 30 out of 48. If anything, I am always all-encompassing, but this is such great information that we all need to know. So I'm going to grab a snack myself and a drink, because I'm not used to talking this much, and I'll be right back. Okay, I hope everyone's back and ready to move forward. It was a nice little break. Let's reshare. There we go. So let's get started on this. Okay. The etheric body is sometimes referred to as the human atmosphere and is considered the first or lowest layer in the human energy field or aura. It is in direct contact with your physical body and helps sustain the physical body's health and vitality. It is your connection to the divine. It absorbs and distributes the vital force energy of the universe to your entire physical body. It is the bridge between the outer physical world and your inner energy world. Etheric means the state between energy and matter. Your etheric body is composed of ether, an electromagnetic energy layer that extends from a ½ inch to 2 inches around your physical body and appears as a free-flowing grayish blue light. Okay, the emotional body. The emotional body is the layer that houses our emotional energy and feelings. It is within this layer that all of our fears and joys reside. Your feeling body is the truth of who you are at a feeling level. This layer of you contains the imprints of the emotional aspect of your memories, as well as your current emotional state. Remember what we said about the negative emotions and how they can show up in your body. It is the bridge between your physical self and your thinking self. The emotional body is not an actual body. It is also etheric in nature, but it can be understood and visualized symbolically like an actual body. In fact, it is often both out of body and in dream time. You can ask to be shown the visual representation of your feeling body in meditation if you'd like. And there's just a representation of what the book Hands of Light deems as the emotional body. The mental body. The mental energy body is the layer that contains all of our belief systems. This is where all of our ideas spring from and where our thoughts are assimilated and sorted out. All of our personal truths reside here, which are based on our own perceptions, based on our own experiences. Perceptions based on our own experiences. That is so important because we all perceive things differently. What I may perceive as one thing, Susan may perceive as something completely different. That's very important to understand that. The mental body is where the seed of consciousness is embedded. The seed is also known as the mental permanent seed and is situated in the crown chakra. The location of the mental permanent seed is best understood in terms of the location of the pineal gland or the third eye. The mental body appears as a light yellow color and has lines throughout it, and patterns are attached to it. Okay, so the mental permanent seed, what we were just talking about, the pineal gland, is also called the blue pearl. And here's a photo of where the pineal gland is housed. And this also represents the third eye of Horus in Egyptian times. It was speaking about the pineal gland. So the mental permanent seed of the mental body is capable of storing huge amounts of knowledge. Moreover, the mental body has the ability to share a plethora of knowledge with other mental bodies within moments. In the mental body, the processes of learning and communication occur with amazing speed. This is how spirit is able to communicate with us so quickly. So for those who are seasoned mediums or even new mediums just figuring out that you're mediums, this is why when you're communicating with spirit, you get such fast images, if that's how you receive it, or you're hearing very small blips of like sound bites, they communicate quickly, and you really have to pay attention. It's really not that easy, is it? um, I remember once having a full-on, hour conversation with my dad when he crossed over, and I was asking him so many questions, and he was firing them right back real fast. And I will never forget just how quickly he was able to answer me when I feel like I barely even got my thought out to ask him the question. It's pretty cool, to be honest with you. The mental permanent seed of the mental body serves also as a storage device where all the records of one's past lives are saved. We can access our past lives. It's in there. We just have that veil of amnesia going on right now that we need to dig into our true selves and unveil ourselves. A guru with superior or developed clairvoyance abilities is able to look into the mental seed and see the journey of any soul through its incarnations. But so can you if you work at it. You don't need a guru. The mental permanent seed looks like a small indigo blue grain with the colors of the rainbow all around it. Because of its appearance, the seed controlling the mental body has often been referred to as the blue pearl. It has also been represented in the past and in hieroglyphics and other art from our ancients as a pine cone, especially in Egypt. The astral body. The astral body or spiritual energy body is the layer where our consciousness or higher awareness resides. It is composed of an ethereal substance of a very high degree of vibration. It is an exact energy duplicate of the physical form it encompasses. It is a link between the nervous system and the cosmic reservoir. The astral body takes on vapor form of matter perceived as a ghost or apparition to the ordinary physical senses. Depending on your vibration, the form can take on different colors. Your astral body separates from your physical body during sleep, a state of trance, under influence of drugs, or sometimes by accident. It happens. When this happens, this is called astral projection, astral traveling, or an out-of-body experience. While your astral body is separated from your physical body, it is connected to your physical body by a tiny, thin, shiny, tenuous cobweb-like silk filament of ethereal substance that is almost like a rope. It's very tiny, very thin. And some people call these etheric cords. You can learn to see these tiny silver cords with practice. Many people are able to astral travel in their sleep with ease. However, most do not remember it. A trained person can travel consciously and with a purpose, and will always be wide awake on these journeys. For them, the astral plane is as much a home as the physical plane. And you can astral travel while being completely asleep as well. During these periods of separation, your astral body is extremely sensitive to thought. You will feel light as a feather, be able to walk through walls and doors, and walk around as a ghost of sorts. People on the material plane will not be able to see you, but most times, animals, especially dogs, may sense your presence. One can travel from one region to another by an act of will without moving in a single point in space. Thoughts are energy, remember? And this is why, too, when mediums have readings, a loved one could show up at a reading in France, and then 10 minutes later, this loved one could show up at a reading with someone in the United States. Speed of thought, travel of thought, it's all energy. It can be anywhere at any time. And that's how we are when we pass on too, because we are energy. We can be anywhere. Have you ever seen the movie Lucy? In the very end, she says, "I'm everywhere, I am everything." She turned into energy and consciousness. So when astral traveling, you can be in Paris, France 1 minute, and then in Las Vegas, Nevada in the blink of an eye. Okay, so here's the etheric template. The etheric template contains all the forms that exist on the physical plane in a blueprint or template form. That is, it looks rather like the negative of a photograph. In disease, when the etheric layer becomes damaged, etheric template work is needed to provide the support for healing. Since this is the level at which sound creates matter, it is at this level that the sound in healing is most effective. Binaural beats are so great to fall asleep to because you can heal yourself in your sleep. Singing bowls and tuning forks for those that do Reiki sound and use sound in their healing. But sound and vibration is the core of healing so many different things. So these forms appear as clear, transparent lines on a cobalt blue background, much like an architect's blueprint, only this blueprint exists in another dimension. It is as if a form is made by completely filling in the background space, and the empty space left creates the form. And it's so much easier than to see the different parts of disease that's in the body because they stand out, almost like a negative of a photo. You can easily pick them out and see them. And I would go into further detail on these different templates, but I don't want to steal the work of the author. This is simply to introduce you to the different layers of the aura. If you want to learn more, I would tell you to buy the book Hands of Light. That's very important. So the higher etheric body is the first of the higher consciousness bodies. Now remember, back in the beginning, the different bodies were subdivided into 3 different consciousness levels. The higher etheric body is referred to as the carrier of the will, and any form of individual will originates from this template. It could be assumed that when people who have difficulty getting things done have a weakness at this level. This is also the level where meditation occurs. Often it is very difficult to attain this state because the physical, mental, and emotional bodies are so used to having their own way. However, through repeated practice, you can strengthen your spiritual etheric and discipline the lower bodies. Once emotions, thoughts, and attention are brought under control, gross conceptual thought ceases, and the consciousness resides naturally in the etheric template. It took me a very, very long time to get to a point of meditating 40 to 45 minutes. I remember sitting down my very first time. I didn't even make it 2 minutes until I was going over my grocery list in my head. I could have easily given up, but as you grow and as you move forward, just take it one day at a time, one step at a time, 1 minute at a time. It's okay. And please know that if you keep trying and you still can't seem to focus, you can either use candlelight, stare at the candlelight. You can use incense smoke and stare at that. You don't necessarily have to close your eyes. For me, I get a lot of information when I'm doing my dishes or when I'm in the shower. I don't know if it's water or just that I have turned my mind off as I'm doing mundane tasks. Sometimes that happens. Gardening seems to be a huge place for people to connect. Meditation can come in many different forms. And sometimes it could even be just on a long journey, driving down a road. Your brain goes into a different place and all of a sudden you're meditating and you don't even realize it. You just have to find what works best for you. And the celestial body. The celestial body is the emotional level of the spiritual plane. It is the level through which we experience spiritual ecstasy. We can reach it through meditation and many forms of transformation work. When we reach the point of being, where we know we are connected to the entire universe and are able to see the light and love in everything that exists. When we are immersed in the light and we feel we are made of it, and it is us, and feel that we are one with God, then we have raised our consciousness to this 6th level of the aura. And it is highly possible that some days you'll reach this point, and then you might come back down to it on other days. It's not at this point in time, many of us anyway, are not at this point constantly. It's okay if you only reach that point every here and then. That's normal. That's where we're at right now. Unconditional love flows where this is a connection between the open heart chakra and the open celestial chakra, which is higher up here. In this connection, we combine the love of humanity, our basic human love for our fellow humans in the flesh, with the spiritual ecstasy found in the spiritual love that goes beyond the physical reality to all the realms of existence. Combining these two creates the experience of unconditional love. The celestial body extends about 2 to 2.5 feet from the body. The celestial body appears in beautiful shimmering light, composed mostly of pastel colors. This light has a gold-silver shine and opalescence quality, like mother-of-pearl sequins. Its form is less defined than the etheric template, and that it simply appears to be composed of light that radiates out from the body like the glow around a candle. Within this glow are also brighter, stronger beams of light. And I believe many of us have seen beings of this sort of nature, and sometimes I think we feel they are star beings or they might be loved ones. It could possibly be a loved one. It could be a celestial body of someone. I have kind of pieced that together. I can't say that it would be that all the time, but it's a possibility. The etheric template or causal body. This is associated with the divine or universal consciousness, and it is related to the 7th or the crown chakra here at the top of the head. This layer contains your life plan or your soul contract and reflects all experiences and events that your soul has ever experienced. This is the mental aspect on the spiritual level. Through this level, we meld and we become one with the divine. To be connected to divine mind and to understand the greater universal pattern, access the Akashic records and look into our past lives. This is where we become one with the universe. This layer is on a level that cannot be experienced from the limiting viewpoint of your ego. It is the strongest, most resilient layer of your aura. The etheric template extends between 75 centimeters to about 90 centimeters, so that's 2.5 feet to 3 feet, beyond your physical body, and is composed of tiny golden or silver threads, kind of meshed together, of light which rapidly pulsate golden shards which hold the complete form of the aura together. So this layer is holding in all of the other layers that we talked about. It contains a golden grid structure of the physical body and all the chakras. One can almost hear a sound when looking at it. I'm sure a sound could be heard if one meditated on this picture. The golden template level also contains the main power current that runs up and down the spine and is the main power current that nourishes the whole body. As this golden power current pulsates up and down the spine, it carries energies through the roots of each chakra and connects the energies that are taken in through each chakra. The etheric template also holds the past life bands within the eggshell of the aura. These are colored bands of light which completely encircle the aura and can be found anywhere on the eggshell surface. Oops. The band found near the head-neck area is usually the band containing the past life that you are working to clear in your present life circumstance. Jack Schwartz speaks of these bands and how to tell their meaning by their color. And I will let you guys Google that. I don't want to go into a whole other tangent. The etheric level is the last auric level in the spiritual plane. It contains the life plan and is the last level directly related to this incarnation. Okay, to infinity and beyond, the higher dimensions. So you think that is kind of detailed and pretty out there. Well, you still didn't even get to the higher dimensions yet. Beyond this level is the cosmic plane and other dimensions, where the human body takes on different forms in different dimensions and planes of existence. These planes cannot be experienced from the limiting viewpoint of only one incarnation. In order to transcend this third dimensional level of existence, the body must undergo a transformation. At this level of vibration, we are spinning at intense speed and are able to transcend all space and time. We form a crystalline structure that uses light rather than food and water as a fuel source. This is called our light body, or Merkaba, however you want to pronounce it. And it literally means and translates to light spirit body. Mer refers to a specific kind of light that was understood only in Egypt during the 18th dynasty. It was seen as two counter-rotating fields of light spinning in the same space, which are generated under certain breathing. And you'll want to Google pranic breathing practices. Again, I will let you Google that. I don't want to go off into another tangent. This counter-rotating field of light affects spirit and body simultaneously. It is a vehicle that can take spirit and body from one world or dimension into another. Chariots of fire are actually referring to our light bodies. It is believed that this is how Jesus disappeared from the tomb. He transcended the third dimension and used his light body to ascend to a different plane of existence. Again, I am not here to argue religion. You can believe what you want. We all have different beliefs. Just a side thought on that. It is believed. Take it for what it's worth. All right. So here on the left is the photo of the Merkaba. For more detailed information and how to activate your Merkaba, you want to go to edenisnow.com. There are tons of sites out there, and you can really find this information anywhere. So wait a minute, free travel and immortality? Sign me up, right? So a Merkaba is a star tetrahedron, a three-dimensional eight-pointed star made from two triangular pyramids, one pointing up and the other pointing down. It harmonizes female and male energy, much like the yin and yang symbol. The Star of David is a two-dimensional version of the Merkaba and was reported to have been painted on the shields of the armies of King David as a symbol of divine protection. The Merkaba is a harmonious activation of the three fields of our aura. When your Merkaba is active, you are tapped into all source energy and locked into the Earth's living matrix. Your DNA is fully turned on, and the potential for immortality and time travel are there. Your soul excels. Your body heals itself, and you have the potential for limitless creation. Now, we are so far from that at this very point. We have a lot we still have to learn, and we have a far way to go, but I believe we're getting closer and closer every day. As above, so below. And right here on the left, I have a little blurb. As above, so below simply means that in universal law, that which happens above must happen below in order to create the miracle of divine oneness. So whatever happens on any level of reality, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional, it also happens on every other level and dimension. The Merkaba does, in fact, bring down source energy into the physical and is a representational invocation of as above, so below. The pyramid pointing upwards connects us to heavenly universal energy and represents yang, positive energy flows. The pyramid pointing downward connects us to the earth and resonates with yin, or negative energy flows. When you're trying to get rid of negative energy and emotions, you always want to ground and connect to the earth. Send those negative energies back to the earth to be transmuted. So here is where normally if I had a live class, we would be working with each other to connect with the different energies. So this picture represents Mother Earth and Father Sky uniting. When you connect to both, you are more balanced and in tune with all energies. This is why it's so important to ground. So many times we're trying to connect to all of these upper chakras and the third eye. Everyone's always concentrating on the third eye. You're not going to get anywhere with the third eye if you are not grounded into the earth. So very important. And honestly, a lot of work comes from the heart. We put way too much emphasis on the third eye. So this is where I would normally in a live class teach everyone how to see their own energy, how to see auras, creating a chi ball, and how to ground the energy. And I might just do that. I think I have 15 minutes until I hit the 2-hour mark. Yeah, let's try some of this. So first of all, how to ground your energy. There are lots of ways you can do that. You can sage, you can use Palo Santo, sweetgrass. Eating dark chocolate grounds your energy. I have found a fast and easy way is to rub the soles of your feet with a sterling silver spoon. Very fast and easy. Jumping up and down a couple times, clapping around your head will clear the energy around your head. Really, the best way is to just take a minute and to close your eyes and to breathe and to consciously feel the energy coming up from the earth in through your feet. And if you can go outside and put your feet on the ground, in the dirt or in the grass without any shoes on, that is perfect. Because the shoes that we wear, the leather and the soles of our shoes, it is actually disconnecting us from the earth and its energy. And that's why a lot of Native Americans are very in tune with the earth and its energy, because they walk around barefoot, or they also wear moccasins that it's a light, thin leather that the energy can still get through, and they're constantly grounding throughout the day. Whereas we have this rubber and stuff that's cutting us off from this energy. And just go out into the earth and picture yourself growing roots as if you're a tree. I like to, every time I breathe in, picture those roots growing deeper and deeper into the earth. I also picture red for my root chakra, and then a deep burgundy brownish red for my earth star chakra, which is right below my feet. And I just keep breathing and picturing those roots growing. And that's a great way to ground yourself. Because we are light beings and we are filled with energy, you have to consider yourself and look at yourself almost like a battery. You really do. And you have to recharge. And when you have to recharge, you need to get rid of that negative energy and bring back positive. And the earth is our recharge station. So I hope that helps kind of bring forward the image I'm trying to show you about energy and how we are constantly recycling energy. Um, I won't get into the meditation. I don't want to keep you guys on here very long. How to see your aura. The best way to do this, and it's going to take practice and time, so don't just keep trying. Find a light colored wall and put your hand out in front of the wall like this. And start to soften your eyes and look beyond the fingers. And you'll start to notice a light glow around your fingers. At first, you might only see white, like a white glow. That's okay. That's the first step. For me, I found it easier when I first started doing this. At night, especially if the TV was still on and there weren't any lights on, I could put my hand up to the light and I could see my aura better in front of the TV light in a dark room. It's different for all of us. I actually see better. I see energy better in the dark, which is really weird. We're all different. That's the beauty. So just keep trying that. Usually a light wall is the best place for most people to start, and just stare. And you'll get it. And move your hand back and forth if you have to. It'll come into focus. But the importance is softening the eyes and not focusing really hard on your hand. Is to look beyond the hand and look beyond the fingers. And that's when you'll see the energy popping up around the hand. I hope that makes sense. Creating a chi ball is actually quite easy. And this is really important in healing yourself as well. So you really just want to start out. Actually, what I do is I clap a couple times and then I rub my hands together. And then I start real small and I'll just slowly bring my hands together and apart. And if you really pay attention, you can feel a little bit of friction there. There's energy that is pushing your hands apart. So you're creating a little beach ball of energy in your hands. And just keep pulsating and forming the ball. And let it grow. Start bringing your hands out further and further. And you can start to feel the energy that you're forming there. And you'll also feel your hands start to get hot. That's the energy you're creating. So now I have this nice ball of energy that I just created here. Some people can see it, some people can't. That's okay. You can feel it. You can feel the change in your hands. Your hands might start to pulsate a little bit. And what I normally do is I will then put it into my heart chakra. You can put it onto a loved one who might have pain. You can put it into a pet that might be feeling sick. There's so many things that you can do with energy balls. But that's the basic way to start. So that is it for this class. I think it was 2 hours. Whew. Now I can tell you that in other classes, if they're this long, we normally break them down into several videos so it's easier for you to learn and you can go at your own pace. This one I kind of wanted to do in one big swoop, so it was all together in one place. Again, if you choose to come to my website and there's a class that you would like to take, feel free to contact me with any questions. And there's going to be a lot coming up. I really want to try and get out at least one class a month. And every time I do a class, it will then officially be on my website for all of time. So last month I offered Lemurian Reiki and Lemurian Healing. That will remain on my website from here forward. So anyone who wants to take it, they can take it whenever they want and it will always be available. And that's how it will be with upcoming courses as well. Eventually, I would love to have a huge library of classes where people can just come and pick and choose what they want or need and just grow it from there. So thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me babble through these slides. Please let me know what you think and if you have any suggestions. And I do hope in the very near future to have even better videos, better quality videos with better sound and picture and maybe some fancy stuff. So thank you so much for supporting me as I get started out. And I really hope to see some of you in the future. Have a great day. Bye.